Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to go over Unit 5 Lesson 2. On your notes that I handed out, we did have 4 bell work problems that we worked together for Candy. And for number 1, we got corresponding. And corresponding angles are congruent. Remembering that corresponding, if you look at the 2 different intersections, you've got your parallel lines and your transversal that cuts those 2 parallel lines. Well, the first intersection, the Y is in the top right corner. On the second intersection, the X is also in the top right corner of that intersection. So that is a way to look at these as corresponding angles. For number 2, one is on the inside of our parallel lines, one is on the outside of our parallel lines. So it can't be an alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, same side exterior. So what's left of those 6 words that we did in lesson 1 is corresponding and vertical. Well, to be vertical, they have to be on opposite sides or diagonal from each other on the same intersection. Those are not. X and Y is not in number 2. And then the last one is corresponding. Well, we just saw an example of corresponding. And these are not corresponding because they are on the same intersection. So the only thing that is left is that congruent and supplementary words at the bottom of lesson 1. Well, if you add these 2 angles together, they create a straight line. So that means they are supplementary. And you can just abbreviate and just do SUPP, and they are supplementary. For number 3, both are on the inside of the parallel lines, and they're on the same side of the transversal. So to abbreviate, we can do SS interior, so INT. Same side interior are going to be supplementary because they are definitely not congruent. You can obviously tell if you do not remember it. And number 4, one is on the inside, one is on the outside, so we're not looking for interior, exterior. One is on the top right corner, the other one is the top right corner, so it is corresponding as well. Again, you can abbreviate if you want, and they are congruent. So then we get into a little bit more complicated figures. So we are told that the parallel lines in this figure in the bottom right corner, parallel lines are going to be R and T. And I gave you a little hint, it may help to put P and P near those 2 lines to remind yourself that they are parallel. Then our transversal lines are M and K. So as I go through 1 through 5, make sure you pause it if I am going too fast for you. So let's look just at the figure for a second. So again, we put P's there to show that R and T lines are parallel to each other. In our transversal, we can put a T there to represent our M as a transversal line, and K is also a transversal line. So for number 1, we are told that we need to find or identify the transversal when we're looking at angle 1 and angle 5. Let me change my color. We're looking at angle 1 and angle 5. Which transversal are we on? We are on transversal M. So for number 1, we're going to come over here and write M. So are these corresponding? Are they vertical angles? Are they alternate interior, alternate exterior? Which of those 6 words are these 2 angles? Well, if you need to, you can turn your screen sideways or turn your guided notes that you should already have sideways. You are looking at this first intersection and this intersection of the parallel lines created by that transversal. In the first intersection, 5 is in the top left corner. In the second intersection, it is also in the top left corner. So these two angles are going to be corresponding angles. So that is what we're doing for 2 through 5. So just to reiterate, let's do number 2. Number 2, we are looking at angle 9 and angle 16. Let's look at the figure. I want to use a different color. Let's do green. Angle 9 and angle 16. Which transversal are we working with? Transversal K. So we're going to put K. And then we have to identify what the special name for these angles are. Well, remember, these up and down lines are parallel lines. So are both angle 16 and angle 9 on the inside or the outside of the parallel lines? In between would be inside, outside would be not in the middle. So obviously angle 9 and angle 16 are on the outside, so we're looking at exterior. And because our transversal is that line K, we are on opposite sides of that transversal. So we're going to do alternate exterior angles. So that is going to be number 2. And you can abbreviate. So there's an example of 1 through 5. Now we go into an even more complicated situation. So 6 through 13, we are dealing with this figure over here. And we are already told that angle 1 is 78. And angle 2 is 47. And then we are trying to find all of the other angles. So I want to zoom in as far as I can. And I want to talk about my mistake, guys. I know you would have caught that if we were in class. Angle 1 is 78, not angle 7. So we can come in here and talk about each angle that we do not have yet. So if we look at angle 1 and angle 3, if we add them together, we get a straight line. So if we do 180, because it's a straight line, subtract the angle we know, we're going to get that angle 3 that we need. So 180 subtract 78, we get 102. So that is going to be our angle 3. And if you do have the piece of paper with you, angle 3 is number 6. And it is in degrees, if you want to put it. So then we keep going. And for sake of space, I'm going to erase that 180 minus 78. So we have enough space. Let's change our color. Now, angle 3 and angle 10. They're diagonal from each other. They're also on this same intersection. So what kind of angles are they? They are vertical angles. So because they are vertical angles, they are congruent. So if angle 3 is 102, That means angle 10 is also 102. So we can fill that out. Angle 10, 102 degrees. And then we can get a little bit more, and then it may get a little bit more challenging because now we have to go all the way to angle 4. So I'm just following along, trying to go through this figure. Remember, our parallel lines are coming in right here. And the transversal that is cutting these two parallel lines are coming from diagonally. So if I wanted to compare, I've already used those colors, so let's do a purple. If I wanted to compare angle 10 and angle 4, remembering that my parallel lines are here and my transversal is cutting through them, are those two angles, angle 10 and angle 4, inside of the parallel lines? Yes. Now, are they on the same side of the transversal or on alternate sides of the transversal? They're on alternate sides. So angle 10 and angle 4 are alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles are congruent. So if angle 10 is 102, that means angle 4 is also 102. So angle 4, come over here, 02. And then lastly, angle 5 on this part of the figure. So there is many ways to look at angle 5. You can either see it as angle 4 and angle 5 added together would give you 108, and you subtract the one you know to get angle 5, which would be 78. Or you can see that angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles, because in this first intersection, angle 1 is in the right, if you want to say right, or bottom right corner of that intersection, and in the second intersection, angle 5 is in the right or bottom right corner. So they are corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are congruent. So you can look at it either way. Either way, it is 78. So that is angle 5. And then you would go through and do 9, 8, 7, and 6 the same way. Pause the video and see if you can do those now. You should have gotten for 6, 133 degrees. For angle 8, you should have got 47 degrees. Angle 7, 133 degrees, and angle 9, 133 degrees. Have any questions? Please email me. And then lastly, we are going to work through one of these proofs. So one of the things I like to do with these proofs is to number them. So I'm going to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So in statement 1, it is given. It is given that the two angles added together give us 180. Well, that's meaning that they are supplementary. So how do I know these two angles are supplementary? Well, we have two parallel lines. Both of them are on the inside, and they are on the same side of the transversal. So the reason why I know both of them added together give me 180 is because of same side interior angles. Now, how I presented it in class is that what changed in between statement 1 and statement 3. Hopefully you can see that they actually combined at like terms. So how I want you to represent this in statement 2 that you do need to fill out, I want the like terms beside each other. And then the other like terms are 1 and 2. So plus 1 plus 2 and still equal 180. So that is going to be combining for a reason. Combine like terms. Now, in between statement 2 and statement 3, what did we do to get that 59x? We simplified. We did 13x plus 46. Then to get this 3, we did 1 plus 2. So in between statement 2 and statement 3, we simplified. And then we keep going because x is not by itself, so we have not solved this. Proofs are just explaining in words why you know you can do certain things, or why you need to know, or why you have to do certain things to get x by itself. So in between statement 3 and statement 5, what changed? Well, we moved this plus 3. And it's positive, so we subtracted 3 on both sides. So our reason is going to be subtraction property. And yes, you can abbreviate just like I am. Once we subtracted 3 from both sides, we simplified. So we're going to put simplified. And then lastly, what did we do in between statement 5 and statement 7? We divided by 59 on both sides. So we get x on the left and 3 on the right. The reason why or how we got from statement 5 to statement 6 is division property. And then we simplified to finish off the proof. If you have any questions from lesson 2, please let me know through email or through Remind. Thanks.